We're going to jump into the report on the April market, but we've taken a different angle on this because we know it's the 14th, but the reason we kind of waited this late is there's another report that comes out on the 14th. So we got some good information on top of that. Single family homes. What happened this year versus last year? All right, last year the median price on single family homes was $1.275 million. This year it was $1.069. $200,000 difference in price. So that raised a red flag, right? So immediately, you guys know me, I got to jump in. I got to see what's going on and what's happening. So I looked year to date to see where we were. Like, okay, we're 4 months in. A good barometer is actually year to date that far in. So year to date, we're at $1.3 million in median sales.
1.3.
Right? Yeah. And last year we were at 1.35 at this point. So it's still a 3% drop in price, so it's not huge, it's not massive, but that made me my mind's messed up, sorry. That made me dive into where we are at right now today for May. May, we are tracking actually 1.25. Okay. It was 1.21 in May of last year for the whole month. Remember, we're only 14 days into the month. So.
Right.
But we are tracking at 1.25 million for that. So that'll bring us back up to where we should be. This could be an off month again. When I see big drops, I always look to see what's going on, what caused that. So when we were kind of prepping for this, you had a good question for me. You said,
well, I was wondering because this year we started off so slow.
Right.
And everyone just felt like, oh my gosh, is something going to pick up? And now I'm looking, we're 10 up. So where were we at in January?
Yeah. So where were we at in January? January started out with a 35% drop. April increased us by 35%.
Right. I think, we were down 5 sales or something like that from the year previous.
Where does that take us year to date, right, on the number of homes sold? So that puts us at 135 last year at this time, 120 this year at time. So we're still low, but we're picking up.
Okay.
But we'll see. We did have, a war that started and some other things. Yeah. So it's, I don't know if this is a little pent up that just paused things for a while, that this is making up for the month that got slow.
It's actually refreshing to see that it hasn't completely tanked or, there's a lot of conversation about that being the environment we're getting into or in. And it actually isn't that much of a difference.
All right, we're going to jump into condos. Okay. Condos last year in April, the median price was $547,500. That's kind of been the median number for years now. I like to say that's the median number. So we're at $570 this April. So that is a 4% increase in price.
Everyone always looks at the market as such a whole. And so every time someone comes up and talks to us, the first question, you're in real estate, what is the market doing? And people really do lump everything together. Yeah. And I'm always grateful for these conversations because actually, it's not the same.
What's funny is because I love this because, 15 years ago, I've been involved with the National Association of Realtors. I'm a board of director for them, and I've been going to their events for a long time. We're headed to Washington, D.C. next month, and we just got back from Honolulu for some government affairs things. But the cool thing is several years, a decade or so ago, Lee Brown, who's really famous, she's a speaker, realtor, everything else, and she said, this is cocktail talk. You're going to be at a cocktail party or you're going to be at the soccer game or football game, and somebody's going to say, how's the market? I heard the market's tanking. I heard this and that. And so this is where you can kind of break it down and say, well, actually, this is what happened. And single-family homes, we are below the middle. It is still a seller's market for single-family homes. Okay, 4.5 months worth of inventory. That's not a lot. On condos, it's barely into a buyer's market. They're at 7.5, a little under 7.5 months.
Okay.
So.
And that's what I'm getting at. How different is that?
Yeah, it's different. So if you lump them together, we're running right down the middle.
Exactly. It's so different.
But we're not, and it's good to know.
And actually, if I can just throw this in there,
you can do it.
Kyra, who's with our office, is on the Elite Ilani board. So related to condos, I mean, their insurance was estimated like $100,000 less than they anticipated from last year's quote. And so their dues are probably going to go down again.
That's awesome.
For
that makes
a
such
condominium.
a difference.
Right. Yeah. And so her comment was, I'm sure we're going to start seeing this with the other complex as well. Now the insurance prices are going to start going down. The HOA dues are going to start hopefully decreasing. So people need to get into these condos while it's a buyer's market like this.
Yeah.
Because those dues will start going down.
Yeah.
Is what I'm thinking, what I'm hopeful for, right?
Well, exactly. That's what we all want. And
Right.
a big thing that a lot of people don't realize, like, yeah, it's expensive, I can't afford it. That actually takes some people out of even being able to qualify for a loan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know you've heard 1,000 times, don't buy that new van or that new lifted truck or those kind of things, because those payments add up and a bank says you're not going to be able to maintain everything, so they don't loan you money. And so those maintenance fees, what could have got somebody into a condo 3 years ago when they went up after the fires, took people out that couldn't even buy. Right. This has been a great conversation. I love it. We're going to come up with some stuff talking about some of the legislative actions that happen. We'll do that.
Okay.
But I think you and I were just talking about how many condos are out there for under $500,000. I'm going to leave it at that, and I'll give you what we're going to stay tuned for the next video. Aloha, Lance Owens, Kailua Real Estate. See you guys. See you.